Yo, what up guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some crazy story going on that's happened this week where GameStop actually sold the most expensive Switch 2 that will probably ever go and happen. Now, unless after this video goes and gets made, we see Nintendo go and announce like a solid gold and diamond plated Switch 2, and they go give it to like Lil Uzi or something. I don't know, knowing my luck over there, like Drake ends up having like some random three women intertwined into a random Switch or something, dude, with some triple Ds everywhere. I don't know what I'm saying, but nonetheless, we have now been seeing the Switch 2 in GameStop doing something really crazy for a $250,000 console, and as of right now, it's going to charity. The CEO has even made comments on this stuff, and it's all from a story we actually covered on the channel itself when it went and happened. So let's go talk about the fact that the Switch 2 is apparently outside of most people's budgets, and well, at least I didn't have to spend $250,000 for mine. By the way, still haven't even touched my Switch 2, which stinks. As you guys know, I've been on a medical leave, fixing some stuff. It's all over the place. Like, it stinks, but we're almost back in the groove soon. A lot of changes coming to the channel. So subscribe if you guys are new. Leave a like, your thoughts and comments down below. And let's go and talk about the fact that, well, apparently GameStop's mistakes can still make a lot of money. So if you guys remember the story, this is all like contextual over here, where, don't mind me in the middle of the screen, GameStop, like about a month ago, man, had this like Switch 2 launch, everyone's going to the store, was a good vibe, you know, and even still, life's good. We even have the Amazon links down below if you guys want to request for your Switch 2. They're actually now on sale now through Amazon, link down below. But basically, GameStop had this big drama. Some of the employees were stapling the Switch 2s. And because of the box itself, I opened up my Switch 2 already. It was kind of a janky box, I'm gonna be honest. And since the Switch 2 console was so close to the top, if you just interpenetrated, I don't want to use the word penetrated, you very lightly caress, you smash it. Where to say this is all, this is where most people just stop the video, go back to square one. But anyway, the show must go on. They were using staplers, and because of the staplers to go and staple the receipt, because they basically had to go and, like, you know, get the receipt on the box and be like, hey, here's your order number 51, whatever it was, you know. And because of that, they were stapling through the box. And the Switch 2, for God knows why, design-wise, was on the very tippy top. So as you're doing that on the very tip of the cardboard box, if you guys opened your own Switches or got your own, then you would realize it was very close, and then it would go in, and it actually went and stapled into the console itself. Like, the cardboard box and the covering wasn't covered, basically. And then these destroyed a lot of consoles. It was a somewhat of a controversial thing because obviously day one, people didn't want to have their consoles destroyed. You just waited in line all day. You waited for months, missed your pre-order. You showed up at GameStop at 5 in the morning and sat outside, you know, and then you go and walk up to the store, and then your console's destroyed. So this was like the big drama that happened over here one too. There's a lot of people over here, even maybe click on some of these comments over here too, we can see some of these really quick. But basically, as you guys can see, they just destroyed the boxes. Like, they really just were, like, you see these little, it's very hard to see it to get a little microscope, but you have these little things over here, and it poked through the console, and it left holes on it all, and it destroyed things. Like, it's hard to see, but it's all there. So anyway, there was drama, and GameStop did eventually go and fix everything. But right now, the big deal is that due to this, like, there's only, like, thankfully, I think, like, one or a few stores out there, they had this, where the GameStop stapler that punctured the Nintendo Switch 2 has now sold for $250,000. Like, no wonder they're getting smashed and penetrated, bro. Like, for that much money, man. Oh my God. So it's $250,000. Now, this was for charity. And a lot of people, I was assuming, I was actually discussing with my boy Cam, saying that this might have just been one of those really big GameStop bulls. Like, the people who, you know, care about the stock or maybe made millions of dollars. Kind of like how sometimes people made, like, you know, a $5 million on Bitcoin, and they're still holding some from back in the day, and if they want to go and drop $100,000 in a JPEG or NFT or whatever it might be, the first ever Bitcoin mined, I don't know, whatever it might be, then they will go and spend the money on it, on a premium, because they're rich. And that's kind of my assumption as well, because I do believe this also was for charity. So the fun story over here is that the New York City-based GameStop damaged a Nintendo Switch 2 console with a stapler in June, which we cover on the channel. A viral mishap upset fans who were already weathered by a tariff-related delay. And if you guys do remember the whole situation, we were worried about the Switch 2 prices going up. We were worried about the Switch 2, like, even coming out in the first place, because it was also delayed. Pre-orders, issues, stock issues, scalpers, everything. but the Staplegate item sold for $250,000 on eBay. So now that same exact stapler, which is crazy to see this, and some additional items have sold for $250,000 on eBay as part of a GameStop organized charity auction. The auction closed on Wednesday with 282 bids, which is why we're making the video now, because it's done. This is the most expensive Switch 2 accessory, console, whatever word you want to go put it on, that's ever happened and probably will ever happen. Let's consider this GameStop's version of corporate accountability. A GameStop spokesperson said to Business Insider, "The saga, dubbed Staplegate, began last month when the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch 2 became available to the public. It had been a long road for fans who were introduced to the original Nintendo Switch 8 years ago and were forced to weather all these delays, as we discussed too as well. And as we just covered at the start, most people got their Switch 2 orders without fuss. Some said their consoles arrived damaged with puncture holes though on the screen, as we showed you guys, and the culprit was this lone stapler at a Staten Island GameStop used to secure the receipts on the console box. So although GameStop did go and replace the damaged consoles, the company's spokesperson said it wanted to turn the snafu into something for a good cause. The winning bidder received 4 items: a stapled Nintendo Switch 2, which has now been fixed, the console's box with stapler marks, the stapler, and the carefully extracted quote-unquote sample. So as you guys can kind of see on over here, or we can maybe go to the listing too as well if it is still up. On top of this, although it looks like when I clicked on the eBay listing, it didn't actually go and take us over here, because this website, although it's Business Insider, this is why I hate news like this, because for some odd reason they don't even double check their articles to even put a space in it. As you guys can understand, I'm always very mad about this stuff, because I see it once again right afterwards too. Might just be a bunch of AI. But nonetheless, as you guys can kind of go and see from all these various articles, they just brought on over, dude. You know, they got the stuff on up. They got the full items over here, and that's why we pulled up the prior links on this, so you guys can kind of see the example of what these switches look like. So, if you guys remember from the story, they basically had, I could probably even set the tone. You guys are probably there. I hope you guys aren't that, stupid or forgetful. But as you guys can see, when it comes to all these consoles, they have, these receipts on them. This is the smarter way to do it. A nice rubber band, easily removed, doesn't destroy the boxes, especially because some people do like to collect this stuff, or presents, whatever. It's not the biggest deal. I don't really mind, but some people do. But anyway, as you guys can see, they would have like a staple right here. And they're like, this is like, you're the 4th in line, you're the 20th in line, 50th in line, prevent scalpers, prevent people. Like, I'm okay with them doing that at the end of the day. Like, that's fine. But as you guys can see, staple mark over there, which then as well leads towards holes, which I hope you guys can find and see. It's kind of hard to see, don't get me wrong, but like it's right, right there. On top of that, and then as with all this I'm going to as well, then on occasion, this is the actual box where the Switch itself was in. These 2 marks right here. So this is the stapler, because once again, I mentioned the box things are a little bit tight. And then as well, then the console themselves sometimes had issues. Now, we showed other consoles that had bigger issues than this. I'm actually not sure if I see anything even on the screen, funny enough. I'll be honest with you guys. Oh, actually, no, it's right there. Literally, I see it right there. Like, I just had to look through this smudge in my own monitor. But as you guys can see, some of these consoles were actually defunct. They were broken, and they have holes. No one likes holes. Well, some people. I have to. some people do, This is what happens when I take, a little bit of time off of I have to stop talking to women. Anyway, so as you guys can see, the consoles got destroyed. But at the end of the day, it came out very nice. Like, they came together to go make this nice situation over here where it went to charity. Now, would I spend $250,000 on a Nintendo Switch? No. Would I spend $250,000 on a stapler? No. Would I spend $250,000 on a staple? A literal staple in a bag? Even if I was rich, even for charity, most likely not. I'd rather go build a well or school or something in Africa. I don't know. But either way, this is going to charity. So whoever did go and buy it, this is a win. The GameStop CEO himself also did go and mention too, on top of that, saying he would also include his underwear in the auction if the bid surpassed 6 figures. They did too as well, and they also even had a meme on top of this too as well. So it was just cool. Like, it is a nice win. It was a bad situation, but GameStop cleared all the consoles. made everything all right, gave everyone fixed consoles, and now just rose $250,000 for charity. I would say this is an end of all day win for the most expensive Switch 2 that will most likely ever be sold. I appreciate y'all so much for watching. Subscribe if you guys are new, and you guys are all dope. Love you guys.